call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from 8/12/25.
So moved. Second.
Okay, if everybody's read them, are there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're gonna abstain?
It's 4-0-1.
Okay. The next order of business are additions and deletions. I don't see any members of the
Wait a
public.
minute, this is the wrong thing.
There's 2 pages for the agenda.
I think that's what happened, is the one that attached. So we go to the next one. On your agenda, you have it. Sorry about that.
So are the papers in that not correct?
I would go to the next page.
There isn't a next
There's only one page.
There isn't the next page.
Do you have additions and deletions on there? And has your name? That's the updated one.
That's the correct one?
That's the correct one.
Oh, good.
Oh,
This is.
We got the right one, they just
Yeah.
had.
This is the correct one. Oh, that's 26.
I'm looking at the wrong part of it. Okay.
Something happened.
Members of the public, Liza, and we'll give Laura. Okay. Would you like to address us now, Liza?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Go ahead.
I asked to be put on the agenda because I wanted to pursue getting some mums for the flower boxes on the gazebo. Before I get into detail on that, there's a few things I'd like to clarify and a question I'd like to ask. I don't know what order to go in, but let me state that I've been on the planning commission for over 7 years. I've been a member of the gazebo committee, the initial commons committee, Community Hope and Action, where I help do breakfasts and meals and what have you. I'm pretty well known in town by now after all this time, and yet I can't seem to get any trust from the select board when it comes to, can I go get some flowers and bring you a bill, or can you give me a check or a credit card and I go get the flowers and come back? I mean, I'm not going to Vegas with the card or the check, and yet I can't get there with you all. I don't understand why. I would very much like to know what my job description is as the keeper of the common, because I keep trying to take initiative and use incentive and come up with ideas, and I keep getting shot down. And then you, Ally, and Connie keep trying to set a meeting, which I didn't ask for. And I thought, as keeper of the common and a former member of the now defunct Commons Committee, I don't know why y'all keep saying there's a Commons Committee, there isn't. It hasn't met in a year. Jim Crozier, John Evans, and Jeff Russ, among Katie, I think you, Ally, I know you were on the gazebo committee, me and Connie as a note taker were on that committee, but I'm not getting any respect.
All right.
I'm not done. I'm not getting any respect. I don't have any authority, and we're getting nowhere. Am I just the keeper of the common, like somebody who weighs coal or views fences and I just buy flowers and water them? Or do I actually have a purpose?
Well, the way we had set it out in the beginning, we had a job description, which you got a copy of.
No, I never got a copy. You read it to me at a meeting where Connie and Katie were, and the only thing I got from it was keep the history of the common.
Understand the budgets. What's in
I don't
there.
have that. You never gave it to me.
You can look at the town report and know how much money is allotted for the common. That's understanding.
I'm talking about the job description at the moment.
And we have one, which I will get to you in a hard copy.
You know, I've been in this position since May. You're going to give me my job description now after I've tried to do something and am not able to do
You are
it?
going off and making decisions that are select board
I
decisions.
haven't made any decisions.
But you're wanting to, and then that's when I said, let's call a common committee meeting to get everybody together. Dale has some ideas about the common that are very worthwhile listening to. And let's figure out who's on the common committee, who shows up, who doesn't show up, and then we'll go from there.
The only thing I wanted to do with Katie, when I mentioned it to Connie the day I came down to get on the last agenda to discuss Ali Dercoli and her sign and that whole fiasco, Connie said, basically, not verbatim, it's basically under control, it's been dealt with. Who else would you like to have come to this meeting with Katie? So I didn't know why I had to have anybody, so I was polite. I said, well, I guess Ali can be there. And then it just snowballed. Then you took it over. You invited Dale. And by the way, Connie, you said something in response to an email I sent you about Dale. And you said you believed something completely different from what I was saying in regard to Dale. But he sent me an email and said he has experience in...
I replied back to your email that I had experience in groundskeeping.
Right.
And stuff like that.
And
I have construction I have construction knowledge.
And you had a plan for the whole common.
I had an idea, a plan of an idea.
And also that you wanted to do something.
And I was gonna bring it up, and Ally informed me to bring it to the committee, which Connie invited me to the meeting.
No, Ally invited you, I got the email. And we wanted to do something.
That was an email, but I was also in the budget committee of the highway and was asked to come.
You wanted to do something about the fountain.
I have
Yes.
my hand up. So I think that this appointment position is fairly new, and it's a growing in its, not scope, but in its development. And I think that a committee, and I said this in my email, that a committee of people who come together to want to work on something mutually is the most important thing, because it provides energy, it provides focus, it provides skill sets. You can't replace committees. And so to have one person sort of assign or decide work projects to be done is not the structure.
That's not anything I said.
Let me just finish. So the idea of scheduling a committee meeting for the common, for anybody who wants to come, and I do believe that the people who I sent the email out to are interested in being on the committee and coming just as they had before, for September 16th to discuss a varied agenda of projects is a good thing. I don't think it's a negative thing.
It's your agenda though.
I did not say it was my agenda.
You said here's an agenda I came
said
up with.
here are some agenda thoughts, and if there's anything else that anybody wants to add, it can be added. That's how you move the ball forward in trying to provide some structure to the conversation. Happy to change the agenda, happy for people to add or remove things, but it's just a way of moving the ball forward for a meeting on September 16th. I think it's important to go ahead with that meeting because there's more and more issues that are coming up that are worth discussing. One of the things on the agenda could be who's the chair of this committee, because I don't think it's an automatic that the keeper of the common is the chair of that committee. So there can be a discussion as to who should chair that committee.
I think first the committee should be appointed, which anybody that did get the last two emails between you and I doesn't know about the whole week's worth of letters between you and I. And I said many things like, Katie's got the fountain under control. I'd like to assist her in any way I can. She's dealing with pool companies. I don't see why other people need to be invited into that conversation. I also said I was informed that Dale is some sort of an assistant to Jeremy.
I
got perfect resolution to it.
Yeah.
Do away with the keeper of the common, and we don't have a
Well,
problem
Rob,
anymore.
that is utterly
You know?
brilliant.
And it's like, you come up with these cookie cutter things here. 1 year, all of a sudden we end up with keeper of the common. It's like, if you want to buy mums and put them out there. You don't have to come down here in winter and whine to us about it. And you don't have to be snappy with everybody.
I told you so
First
many
of all,
years
I'm
ago.
talking right
I
now.
didn't want to talk to you
The way
anymore.
we have a
Please
conversation is
observe it.
You talk, I talk. You talk,
All right,
I talk.
just
That's a
hand me over the
conversation.
money, I'll go buy mums. That's the whole point. That was the initial reason for coming to this. Can you please do something about his mouth?
You have an equal volume.
We don't need to get into a screaming match, period. That's,
Well, somebody
Right.
wants to
No,
be a
no,
jackass.
okay.
It's like, I don't
You
want
started
to listen
saying
to
you
it.
started
I
saying
go all
it
day
doesn't
long and I don't want
that's
to
not
listen
the
to
point.
this crap.
Rob, that's not the point.
Jackass?
We're not here for any of that.
Here, the one thing that I would like to say is that the.
I'm really glad this is on camera. I'm so glad.
The
Right.
keeper of the common and the common committee have both been established by the select board at different.
No.
Yes, they have. The
There
common-
is no common committee. It's
You're
been
wrong
defunct
about
for
that.
a
Can I finish
year.
what I'm saying,
You're
please?
wrong.
It's been
Can I finish
defunct
what
for
I'm
a year.
saying, please? It has not been defunct for a
It
year.
has.
We met, and it doesn't, just because you haven't met doesn't mean the group doesn't exist. Number one. Number two, there is budgetary items that are approaching the common on a number of different issues. So the issue of purchasing mums, I think is wonderful. I think the gazebo looks amazing. But there are other budgetary issues that are approaching the common, such as tree protection. So therefore, I think it would make sense to have the meeting on September 16th. We won't need to be putting mums in just yet by then. I think that the current flowers will still look great, and we can make some budgetary decisions.
There you go.
It-
You just made the decision. Are you the keeper
I
of
am
the
not, I'm
common?
making a suggestion, I'm offering my opinion as to these, instead of sucking up the select board time, move it to the committee and have a conversation on
I'm sucking up your
9/16.
time? Well, suck no more. Good night, jackass.
Good night, thank you. Enjoy your ride home.
Oh, sick.
Okay.
All right, next up.
Laura, do you have anything as a member of the public, or are you just here to observe?
I'm just here to observe.
Okay, thank you, my friend. Old business, hazard mitigation plan adoption.
Well, no, this is the
This is just the
addition.
additions and
We're
deletions.
now
Oh,
on
okay.
to, the
Correspondence.
correspondence.
Okay, correspondence, Lindsay Chambeau, letter, and that is here. Has everybody gotten a chance to read it? Basically, Lindsay is handing the West Street sewer packet over to us, telling us she feels we're better able to do the bookkeeping and payment and collection of the West Street sewers. And the 8 properties that contribute, blah, blah. So, any comments on this?
I propose we get a keeper of the septic, since the keeper of the common is going so well.
Well, the comments, everybody's a septic, isn't everybody, so I don't agree with that.
I don't see how the town could be involved in this whatsoever.
I
It's
agree.
private property.
Well, we do own the property that the septic's on,
Okay.
but that's as far as our liability goes. And forever, they have had their own little committee that handles it. And my advice to Lindsay would be, get your 8 people together, have a meeting, figure out who's president, who's treasurer, who's secretary. And if you guys can't handle calling to get it mowed or calling to get it pumped, then hire somebody like a Jim Crozier for a couple of $100 a year that would do those things for your committee and take care of your own responsibility.
When this issue came up, we looked at the deeds.
We did.
And in the deeds, there is very clearly, there's a history, but the history always has the town not responsible for the maintenance and the repair of the sewer, so.
So I would imagine that when the real estate transactions occurred, there was something
It
in
is-
there
it
called
is in
shared
their
use or shared responsibility, things like that.
And it's not the first time she's come upon this, because she owned the other house for quite a few years, knew that when she bought it, and then bought the second house, and now it's an issue because Diana doesn't want to do the bookkeeping anymore. So I just say, I personally say no, so I don't know how we.
That was the answer we gave her last year.
I'm not interested in taking this over as the town, I don't think.
No, the town has no business in that.
Nope, absolutely not.
So, do we need a motion for that, or?
No.
Maybe there's a direction to give a response. Right?
Yes.
A direction to respond in some fashion.
Or maybe just make it a matter of.
respond last year.
I thought we left it and we look into it.
Yeah, I worked with her and I told her that the town doesn't have any say in that. And we just kind of look through the documents, but the conversation was always that the town does not have any responsibility or business
What
in the
about if
engine
we
septic
just
system.
make it a matter of the minutes?
Yep.
That,
Sure.
you know, we very plainly write it out as a matter of the minutes that we have no responsibility and it's up to the West Street Sewer as a group of, she says 8, but as a group of the shareholders.
You
So
may
if it's
want,
correspondence, you don't want
Yes.
a response?
May want to check with our legal counsel to make sure that we are not tied for sure with it being on our property. We don't want it to be abandoned on our property.
I think the
You
only
wouldn't
time
want
we
it to
have
be a big-
responsibility is if it went belly up. But that's not the case.
So what I'm hearing is not to respond to the correspondence, but to make it a matter of the minutes.
That would be my thought. I'm only one person.
I would say send for response. It's just me.
yeah.
How about we do
She
both?
sent us a letter, so we'll send her one back.
Okay.
Make it a matter of the minutes and the correspondence. And no motion. Where is mine? Okay, and then we have the highway report, Jeremy. Everybody say happy anniversary to Jeremy.
Warrants.
Happy
Warrants.
anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Oh,
Good luck to you.
Make a motion to pay the warrants, starting with number 1 payroll, in the amount of $14,753.81. Number 2 payroll tax, in the amount of $6,692.26. Number 3 general fund, in the amount of $3,967.30. Number 4 general fund, in the amount of $8,755.87. Number 4 highway fund, in the amount of $267,237.07 for a total of $301,406.31.
Second.
okay, questions, comments? So you made a motion, did somebody second it? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now we move on to the highway.
Just reporting, okay, we'll start with the GMP work. They have started graveling on Brookline Road, and they're gonna work their way over the mountain and down to the bottom of Plum. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel for that road. They are still replacing culverts on East Hill, probably 3 or 4 more days up there, and then they're gonna move to Simpson Brook to do the culverts over there, and the grading and graveling crew is gonna kind of follow this culvert crew around. So there's a few more months worth of work going on as far as the GMP stuff goes. I spoke with Ed from ATG yesterday. All our parts are in for truck 4. So he was hoping to have the truck into the shop by the end of next week. Said worst case scenario will be last week in September, first week in October, something like that. Truck will be back.
Okay.
What else? Grants and aid work is continuing. I have 2 segments left to complete. We are done. I will be done up on Back Wyndham Road the end of this week, and then we'll be moving to Winslow and finish up the grants and aid project over there. So, other than that, that's pretty much it.
What about the ceiling? That was going on today?
Oh, the crack ceiling, yes.
Yeah,
They started today, so.
yeah, they looked hard at work.
Yes. They said about 3 days, maybe 3.5.
The only comment I had is the guy had the truck parked out in front of here all day and maybe he could park it at the garage instead, just
Okay.
because of limited parking out
Yep.
front.
I'll let those guys know in the morning.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for highway, gentlemen and lady? Oh, okay, then we have the treasurer's report. We have the regular accounting for $1,424,953.47, and then the $30,000 swing account. And then at our request, she gave us a revenue report for the second second period, and we collected over $1 million in taxes, which was quite good, which is, we collected about a half of what is due in total in the first quarter, so, for the first tax payment. And then we went on to a detail of the taxes, so the revenue for August. Speaking of revenue, we did get a call from the dam advocates that came to talk to us that time, asked if we had received anything or heard anything. I said we hadn't received anything, and that it was nice that he was calling up to check on us, and he would keep us posted and keep working towards that. The town clerk, am I seeing it right now?
I don't see that.
I don't see one either. So, we don't have a town clerk revenue report this 2-week period, but she's been hard at work in collecting monies, and we'll get that caught up for next meeting. The chair, yeah, I'm there. The gravel pit, we had a gentleman that owns June Kipp's house at the top of the hill that came in to talk to Connie and myself about target practice in the gravel pit. Could he do that? And I was like, I'm only one select board member, but I would think there's liability issues and just general safety issues, and we wouldn't want it to become the Wild West down there. But I said I would.
Did they use that in the past?
Yep.
I'm sure people have without permission, but this guy asked permission. And
Easier to ask forgiveness.
I didn't say that, you did. But I brought it to the board because I don't make the decisions by myself.
I'm a no.
Of course.
Okay.
I'm a yes. Fire away. Wake up the neighborhood.
Okay. Do we need a vote then, a motion?
No.
Okay, okay, so, but there's 4 people no and 1 person yes, so it's a no. And so Connie and I will contact,
Okay.
she had her head going like this.
Okay.
Contact Gundra. Okay. Jeremy and I met about performance reviews. We decided we're gonna use the form that Steve used in the past, that it was a good form. Jeremy's gonna hand it out mid-September to the gentlemen that work at the barn, and so that they know what they're going to be evaluated on, and then 2 weeks later, we'll sit down individually with them and do a performance review. This is all with your blessing, but we have kind of mapped it out. And if everything is fine and no need for improvement, then they'll be reviewed in another year, and we'll put it on the calendar so that we make sure to do it. If there is room for improvement, we have to say, well, in 3 months we'll meet again, or in 6 months, or whatever the group thinks. So if you have ideas about that, tell us.
Was that including the trash attendance?
It wasn't at this point.
I just asked because last year the select board had asked me to write a job description for that, so if you guys wanted to look at that job description that we
Okay,
had
I think that was more with the situation we have
It
there.
was,
Yeah.
but it still exists.
Yeah, so maybe if we just
if we
file
need
that
that,
here,
I-
we'll be here.
Yeah,
But right now, we were just gonna start with the actual highway guys.
that makes sense.
And Jeremy was happy with what we mapped out to do. And you think 90 days is a good, like if there's improvement needed?
That's the standard.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did that in the past.
3 months.
Okay, and then what else is
Who's doing Jeremy's?
Well, we're coming on to part of our discussion here is a road commissioner position, and what does that entail, and is that Jeremy's boss as well as the select board, or how does that work?
There needs to be a job description for
a road commissioner.
Right, but I'm not sure who would do Jeremy's. I assume that the select board would do it as a whole.
Historically.
Yeah. That-
Is that a paid position?
No,
Usually in the past, the road commissioners were 2 select board members, and they actually coordinated and worked with him. And then they're the ones that gave the recommendations to the rest of the board to do his eval.
And they were classified as liaisons, right?
No, it was commissioner, because they were appointed.
we had Irv forever, and he was his own boss, basically, you know, because he was head of the road crew, road commissioner, so.
That was when I was on the board, we had 2. It
mhm.
was me and Bob McCord.
Okay. It's up to how the board wants to structure it, but, I think at this point, talking about performance reviews, we will do Jeremy's. He has the paper, we'll meet with him at the end of September, we'll tell him how he's doing, and then he'll go out on his surgery on October 7th.
Tentatively, yes.
Yeah, so, where are we? To the trees. Chair report wants it's open to the public. There's gonna be Vermont young tree pruning training to be held on the common November 6th, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It was my thought, I'm trying to get the Brattleboro Career Center forestry program to come and be involved in caring for our common, and I would invite them to that. And anybody else that wants to come, you know, and the common committee can come, so.
We're also gonna be replacing the dead tree that day, so we need to take the tree out. I was gonna cover this in my grant report. We need to take the tree out ahead of time. And they're going to replace it with an American elm tree because the 2 options they gave us, one was more like a bush. The elm tree grew taller and had that canopy, so I said yes to that one.
Yeah, you and I discussed that, and it sounded like the right
So
choice.
they've officially,
Well, I asked them to replace it. I said it wasn't getting any better. And they said sure. And they had some trees left from another project and they said, these are your choices, so.
we can pull that whenever, or just,
We can pull it anytime before November 6th. And, yeah, I guess there's gonna be a little bit different of, the planting of it will be a little bit different, because I think it's not the bald root, it's a bare root, so I guess it doesn't have to go as deep or something, they were saying, but they're gonna advise on that, so we should kind of let them lead that, I think, this time, so we're not touching it. That was kind of my plan.
Okay, and then this will be up front with the land, just so that townspeople can look at it and be involved if they'd like to.
And they asked we share it on front porch.
I posted it there today.
Okay.
And moving on to the grant coordinator.
Okay, I'm gonna go down the list of things I got going on. There was a little bit of paperwork confusion. I checked with Megan Brunk, just, hey, these are the documents I have, what documents do you have, just keeping in line with everything. And she said that they hadn't seen the signed Bridge 41 contract, but I do notice in last time's minutes that we did motion and approve that. So I'm not sure.
I think that we motioned and approved something that we thought.
I think it was the stream bank.
Stream bank.
Right, because when we get the grant agreements, they have a grant number on them, but they don't have the rest of the stuff that goes with the application, so.
So we signed and sent back the stream bank one. Tonight is the.
And it was labeled as the stream bank one, also, once I think we signed it back. That one was for 19,600, this one's for 18,000 with a 10% match, so. I don't know how to fix that with the minutes, in terms of last time we thought that we were voting for this one, and we actually signed the stream bank one, that was my mistake.
Why don't I just correct it in the minutes, if it's okay with that? Because it was last month, right?
Yep.
So we're not too far away on that.
I think it was the last meeting.
Yeah, so I can correct that.
So this one, I'd like to make a motion to sign the Bridge 41 Engineering Study Grant Agreement.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, so the next thing, VLTC passive, they finished the fire alarms. And we, as far as I know, we're eligible for that 50% 50% reimbursement. It came out to $4,219, so it's possible we'll get half of that back. I emailed Leah Garish from Passive, I sent her the invoices. I said, we still wanna apply for this, and just let me know, only because there had been those issues with the garage that I know Jeremy's worked with them on since, where they said, work on some, you don't have to do all, and since we had made some progress, I wanted to double check with her. As was discussed earlier, the fountain project is still developing. I've had some renewed interest in it, and it's kind of taking on a different life, which is a good thing. The Townshend Historical Society has agreed that if any private funding were able to come their way, they'd earmark it for any private funding where people were interested in the fountain, they would earmark it for the fountain, and then when the project went forward, they would give that money to the town for that part of the fountain project. So that was something that I spoke to them about last week at their meeting, and they're happy to support the project. So that's yet another way that we can get this funding going for it. There's a few different grant leads that I've been told about, so I've been working on those applications. And otherwise just waiting on some contractors for a couple different things, which it's been hard to find. But Jeremy said that the pump is working and it's back installed, so I guess.
It's not installed, he fixed it.
But he fixed it, so we can decide later if we wanna get another pump or not, but I'm still not getting a lot of calls back about the equipment housing, so if anybody has any leads on something as unique as that, just let me know. We could even possibly consider grading the land, creating some drainage in that thing and grading the land up to it, just so that it's not the way that it is, but that's something to deal with later. And then for the electrical, I figured at some point we could just ask Warren. But we're not there yet, so I'm collecting estimates on there. The USDA grant for the compactor, I finally have all the estimates together. Warren was able to give one for the electrical, and we received that yesterday on his letterhead, although he did send it last week more casually. So that paperwork's really dense. I'm continuing to move through it and asking my questions to my contact person, and I'm hoping that before September 1st I'm able to submit, so I can let you guys know next time if that happens. There were 2 notices of funding that we had received through, I believe, VTrans. One was a municipal sign package grant, and the other one was for temporary lighting. It was random. We received it kind of late, but it was a pretty straightforward application for each of them, so I went for it on August 11th. The municipal sign package grant, they're going to give to one town in 4 different regions. That gives you 6 sign stands, 2 road work ahead signs, 2 be prepared to stop signs, 2 flagger ahead symbol signs, 2 lighted stop slow paddles, 2 compliant class 3 vests, and 15 28-inch cones with reflective bands. There's no match. I figured getting more equipment like that and having it on hand so we don't have to buy it in the future, we went for it. The other one is a municipal temporary lighting award. It gives you, this one's competitive and is only going to 1 municipality. The total award is $10,000 to assist in the cost of temporary lighting package. The grantee shall purchase any MUTCD manual on uniform traffic control device compliant with temporary traffic control that enhances the safety of traffic control work zones. There's also some questions about training people on that as well. They give a lot of resources for that, so I applied for that since there was also no match. If we got to the point where we were awarded the grant and it was something that was going to cost a lot more than $10,000, maybe we'd make a different decision, but it's just an application at this point. So those notices of funding came out kind of late and we had enough time, so we did that. I'm still waiting to hear back on the pedestrian grants. That'll happen, I'm imagining, by the winter, he had said. I have not heard back from Grants and Aid on the hydrologically connected road segments. That's $29,000. I reached out to them a couple weeks ago, and they're slower to getting their documents out. We already talked about the dead tree on the common, and that's being replaced. So I think that's everything I'm doing right now.
Good.
That's it.
Yes. Is that a question for me?
Laura?
Well, I have a question about the alarms at the highway barn. Are they working correctly? Because they've been going off an awful lot early in the morning. I can hear them
Like
quite
how early
clearly.
in the morning are you?
The last one, was it this morning or yesterday? It was like 6 o'clock.
Okay, well, is that when you enter?
I think it's when
It's
people are
news to
going
me.
in, the alarms are going off or something. It's like, I've heard them a number of times.
I have no clue.
Is it that or the backup alarm in the truck?
Probably backup alarm in the loader.
It could have been a backup alarm, but one of them seemed a lot louder than a backup
Well,
alarm.
the loader's really loud, so. And
Okay,
I know they were out there this morning pretty early.
that must have been what I heard this morning. And I also heard it was definitely an alarm, not a loader, a few times over the past couple of weeks. Between 6 and 7 o'clock.
So Kate, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
About the fountain,
Yep.
isn't the drain still don't work or is it leaking, so that would have to be repaired before it could be used, correct?
Yes, and so Jeff Rust had said that when the time comes, he was willing to fix that, for us. And as the structure of the project that the Common Committee and the Select Board had, been informed of last year when I was working on this, the town was gonna, if the pool was to be completely replaced, the town would do the jackhammering, take that material away. Jeff would get in there, do that repair. We hadn't gotten as far as talking about whether we'd provide the supplies or he would. It's kind of a supposedly small thing, and then the contractor would come in and do what they needed to do, whether it's a resurface or a full rebuild.
That would explain why the sinkholes are there, is because of the water when it
Well,
wasn't.
And I thought those conversations might also come up when we're talking about the grass out there anyway.
right.
I just wanted to, because some people were saying that it is ready to go once the pump was working, and I was
Oh,
like
no,
thinking drains
absolutely
that,
not.
so.
And then the line to it, the well line to it is broke somewhere.
I think that needed to be, a lot of people didn't understand.
I mean, and John Evans had filled it
I
with a
didn't know
hose,
that.
but it didn't hold the
So
water.
it's got two names.
So there's a couple different things that need to happen.
So it ain't it.
But if the water situation was fixed, then the fountain ostensibly could be used with the pool and the fountain the way it is, once the water
If you could fix the
situation.
drain without disturbing the pool, which I'm not sure if you can, because I'm not a plumber.
Wasn't there concern about water near the equipment box or something?
Yeah, well, yes, actually, the equipment housing is holding water.
Yeah.
And it has an electrical outlet in there, so that would have to be dealt with in order to plug in.
Well, that's all part of the water system, basically, right? Because holding
Imagine
the
where the
pump
pipes
before
broke
part of
under the
water system.
fountain, or the fitting, and the water's running along that line into the box, because it'll be on the outside of the water line, and that's where it's getting into the
John
box.
initially thought the pump itself was leaking, and it was, but that's not the only reason it was taking on water in there.
Yeah, it's 'cause
That's
it's
why you
on-
need somebody that I was like asking pool companies to come look at it, I don't know. Somebody must deal with fountains, it's kind of a niche thing to find someone to know how to manage, but we're looking.
The only other question I had is, did you call the electric company to get the yellow off the?
I did, I've had no luck getting in touch with him, I called the person that you had, Corey asked me to try again, and then I thought maybe I'll call Jansowitz and tell them that they are the ones that initiated that, can they have it taken off for us?
All right, or I can call, I just didn't.
If you wanna call, yeah, I've
Okay.
called a couple times.
Okay,
I also wanted to mention that I emailed the school about their use of the common and going into the next school year, that we don't want the kids to climb on the gazebo. We want them to use it appropriately if they use it, and to not climb around on the fountain, and to not pick at the bark of the trees or climb the trees. And that when we had the forester here, he noticed there was signs of all of those things, so I thought we should just communicate about this again. I didn't receive a response, but I sent it to the elementary school and the after-school program coordinator, so that they could just understand what the town expected about the conduct. I told them that the compaction is bad, especially for the younger trees, but it's bad for all of them. So if they can, give space to the trees in those ways and be respectful of the trees, that would be
So
good
what
for us.
will the town do if they don't do all of these things, if they ignore these requests?
Well, we're at step one, and they have not answered me. So I figured that if they responded, I would bring it back to the board and say, this is the response.
and if they don't respond back to us and we see violations of what you've asked, then we'll address it with them. even in a personal meeting.
Cause you
There's
do
also
have
one-
after hours, there's kids running around the village that do
That's
some
also
things there too.
one of the topics of the common committee,
Right.
about tree protection,
Yeah.
purchasing tree protection.
The common committee and then the November also. When
That's
is,
how you-
when is the state coming? Adam,
Just for the training on how to prune.
but when is that?
November 6th.
Okay.
And last year, I had mentioned it to the school, and then Liza mentioned it to the school, and then when the tree planting was happening, I think I mentioned it to the school, so they've heard from us. So,
So we can keep reminding them.
yes.
Old business are we up to?
Yep.
Crosby tax sale. Rob, do you want to talk about that, please?
There's not much to talk about, we haven't gotten any information, have we?
Well, where is the treasurer?
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm trying to find it. Yeah, thank you. It's the treasurer and her assistants, here, you can hand this over to Rob so you can see what's in there. It's the treasurer and her assistant's, position that they did everything right and they're not responsible for any of this. Is that what Anita said to you, sort of? Yes.
It's not a town issue.
It's not a town issue. I don't think that the treasurer and her assistant make that decision. I think we make that decision as the select board. And Steve and I were talking before, if somebody said somebody else paid your taxes, pay them back, and it was a third party that I had no dealings with, no history with, I wouldn't give somebody $8,500 just because somebody told me to, you know. So somehow I think we're stuck trying to figure out what to do to an elected official and a hired employee telling us what they feel, and we need to have an opinion. And I don't know how to do that.
What I don't understand. Go ahead, Tim.
It's 7 transactions that need to be reversed. So that's it. It's 7 transactions that need to be reversed. I'm not paying CoreLogic anything. I pay my taxes to Townsend. That's the problem.
What I don't understand is why doesn't this go to errors and omissions, and then from errors and omissions, it goes on to the BCA, and we vote on it of what to do. And before in the past, when we've had a problem with taxes and overpayment or wrong payments, we go in front of the BCA, we vote, and then from there, that people can, whatever our judgment
So you're
is, then
saying-
they can either choose to go to the Supreme Court if they want to. But usually with what the BCA, which is the Select Board, Justice of the Peace, Town Clerk, and a few other people.
But isn't the BCA usually when we charge somebody taxes improperly? And this way we collected taxes for the wrong piece of property from a company, like a mortgage company. So I don't think we would forgive that $8,500.
We're not forgiving anything.
Okay,
You're taking what was paid in the wrong manner and reverse it, bringing it over and putting it onto the proper parcel number, right?
She paid, that's the problem. The mortgage company paid on my mortgage, and it should have been on hers, and it's 7 transactions that need to be reversed. It's that simple.
who does? Oh, Helen, the lister, and then you, Dale.
Yep.
Helen, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to mention that the errors and omissions is nothing to do with this. Errors and omissions is if the property has been valued incorrectly for changeable and understandable reasons, we would give you guys an error and omissions report. this has nothing to do with that.
To the way I understand it, and I'm not sure I understand it fully, is that a banking company paid on the wrong parcel number. And the treasurer and her assistant put it to a parcel number. I never saw the initial one, so I can't say that the bank made the mistake or they made the mistake, but it was paid to Tim's property, and it wasn't supposed to be there. So if we bring it to the BCA right now, what do? Pay back CoreLogic, and then Tim then pays the back taxes back to the town of Townshend?
That's what I would think.
Dale?
My understanding, I asked some people about this afterward that had some knowledge in this. You, first of all, the listers need to verify the actual properties and the account numbers to those properties, in which to verify that there might have been that mess up, and if there was there a logging issue there? If that's okay there, and then also the treasurer needs to verify both parties' payments and make sure they were put to both the proper accounts. And if they were and weren't, then there would need to be an adjustment verification to that. So you would, yeah, and then at that point, the board would make a decision on how to handle that, and then with a discussion with all parties. But you need to verify where this might have made mistake was or is, and on whose party was the mistake on. And with all the different properties, make sure that the lister card numbers and the tax numbers match each proper property. That needs to be verified first of all. And then the treasurer needs to verify each party's payments and verify those tax accounts with that. And for how many years this may be been going on. And then a resolution would have to be created.
Understanding what she gave us? Okay. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, it's really simple. We sold the house. I don't know where the mess up went on, but the mortgage company couldn't fix it, and Susan couldn't fix it. So Susan had a choice: come up with the $8,500, get her taxes current, or go to tax collection, potentially lose her house at tax sale. So she's the one that had to pay the $8,500 on my taxes, and then she had to pay another $8,500 on her taxes, and that's BS. It's 7 transactions. It's very simple, and like this gentleman just said, he hit it right on the nose. I mean, it's that simple. So.
Well, I am having trouble getting from the treasurer's office just what we spoke about and something that we can understand.
We need to know who messed up on where. And there needs to be an investigation from when I sold the house, when I paid the lax taxes until now, on everything that was paid on my end and her end. And it's really simple, 7 transactions, but this CoreLogic isn't getting any of my money. I pay my taxes to Townsend, so I'm sure you guys can figure it out, but not getting any information and being told every time I call down there, oh, we have to go through this company is ridiculous. And I think it's simple how we can figure out who messed up what.
I totally, as one person, agree that you shouldn't pay money to a company that you have no business history with.
I know they've already knocked $2,000 off of the $8,500. Actually, they knocked it from $8,500 down to $6,200. They're begging for any money, but the right thing to do is to just deal with us, to just deal with Susan, deal with me instead of passing it on to the next person, the next person, the next person. It's ridiculous.
So are these the documents that we,
This is-
directed the treasurer to get for us last time we discussed
I
this?
think the first one.
Cause we did ask for the whole transaction.
This was the directive and this was what we got. And I don't quite fully understand it, what.
What don't you understand?
Not your,
They made a payment on my parcel
I don't know
instead of
who,
her parcel.
I don't know who Trans Am is. I mean, it's something listed there that I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, what don't you understand?
What Elaine, the treasurer, gave us as documentation is confusing and I don't understand it. And I don't think you have a copy of what I'm referring to.
No, I don't. I haven't been able to get anything from them, but I would like to be able to go down and get three years of my tax payments from the town. I'd like Susan to go down there with me so she can get the 3 years of tax payments. So we can present to you guys the hassle that the mortgage company has had to go through and what Susan has had to go through. And it's been carrying on for a couple of years now. This is ridiculous. This should have been, I didn't even know about it at all until this year. I didn't even know about it until a few months ago. I mean, so, and she didn't know anything about it for the first year because she thought she had everything set up with her mortgage company and make her payments. So the only way that she could get out of tax collection is to make it current. So she had to reach out to somebody. Maybe she had insurance. I don't know.
What does the board think?
You wanna consult with VLCT?
Yeah, we definitely need a next step here. We need to do.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't need to be brushed on to the next person, the next person, the next person. We need to find out who's responsible for switching the parcel numbers. Because I know what my parcel number was. You know, I've been paying taxes for years to Townsend, and I just don't understand how it can get screwed up, how a mortgage company can all of a sudden make payments on my house, you know, out of the blue, and go on for not just 1 year, but a couple of years.
Okay, well, as you said, it's been going on for years. I think it was about a month ago that I met you down here on a Sunday and took all the information. I reported it to the board last meeting. We're talking about it this meeting. I'm hearing that we are maybe gonna get an opinion from the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, who are our first step legal advice. Is the board agreeing on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we will do, Connie.
What are we asking?
We are going to present the case as we know it and ask.
Investigate from the sale to now
I don't,
and find out who messed up and why. I mean, this should never happen. Well, I think what we should try to do is direct Connie to ask VLCT to come up with, explain the scenario to VLCT and ask.
I can't explain it. I don't fully understand how to explain this to anybody.
Well, it's pretty simple. Somebody,
7 transactions.
a mortgage company has been paying for a parcel of property that is not the parcel of property that they're supposed to be paying escrow to. That they own. So, somebody here either made put in the wrong parcel number or whatever, but we need to
Rectify it.
ask them. Reverse it. Well, no,
Would it
just,
make sense to first have a meeting with the two people involved, so that
Treasurer and
Anita?
system.
the treasurer and the financial, and maybe it should be a couple select board that are spearheading that conversation with them, because I feel like we're not really.
I wonder if Dale would attend. You have a pretty good grasp on how what's going on. Would you attend?
I probably could, but I may not be able to, but I think, honestly, and what's your name, sir? I just wanna make sure I understood you.
Crosby.
Tim, my issue is I think the select board, my understanding is the select board's is having a hard time getting information from our treasurer. They don't have actual control of the treasurer. The treasurer is an elected official, in which they're asking the leagues and cities how they should handle this situation of not getting enough information to help retrofit the whole problem. So doing that and doing this in fall, you really need to make sure the listers are on board and verifying what they have, their documentation right. The leagues and cities are gonna tell you that you need to make sure that what's on the deeds match the lister cards. What matches the lister cards then goes over to the tax department, which is your treasurer department, needs to verify that. And figure out how many years ago that transaction, how that happened. It might have been just a simple input into NIMRICS or whatever, but then we've got to figure out how to correct that. That has to first of all be corrected for any further future entrants, but then also on the backside is figure out how to make everyone whole and sense. Because to me, that's just the fairest way. I'm just saying my opinion, but then you may want to make sure you check with legal counsel. But I would not be surprised that there is prior cases of this happening in the state. Guaranteed it has.
So verify parcel numbers and then verify those with the listers. And then verify with the treasurer that they have the same address to the
If they have it corrected,
right.
But then go through the backlogging and figuring out what's happened in the last 3 years and then ask the leagues who makes that decision and how to rectify
I
it.
still like the idea of some select people meeting with them instead of just me asking and getting the same thing that I don't quite understand.
May I say something?
Yes?
So when I pay my taxes, I come in, I bring my little bill with me, I hand over the money, I get a receipt. I'm not sure what the treasurer and the tax collector's responsibilities are, but I think basically what they do is they take the money for whatever I hand them. They're not gonna research.
This is totally different than yours. A bank was paying this man's taxes. This man has several taxes. He had a parcel that was sold, so he wasn't quite sure what he was paying. He would come in and say, what do I owe you this quarter, and write a check.
He didn't have his bill.
Well, because the bills had all changed. He sold the parcel, and then they were receiving payments that he didn't realize.
But maybe in defense of the treasurer and the tax collector, they probably didn't realize it either.
No.
They were probably just taking the money that was coming in and
Right.
putting it where they thought it was
Right, but
supposed to
that
go.
doesn't
When you have a company that is paying a mortgage company and you have an escrow set up, the mortgage company has your parcel number. The mortgage company doesn't have other parcels number of people that they don't have any business doing with.
But it couldn't.
So when that person is paying, when the mortgage company is paying out of an escrow, this young lady Susan is paying, part of her payment goes
I know
into
that. I
escrow.
had an escrow.
The escrow sends it here. There shouldn't be other people's parcel numbers, names, or addresses on the payment.
It could have been something to do with the sale. We don't know what.
No, it didn't. No, it wasn't.
He
That's
just
why I
said
say
It had nothing to do with the sale.
It's in the lister's office.
7 transactions, it's really simple, you gotta reverse them. It's that basic. It's
Okay.
first grade stuff, man.
Okay, so what's the board's directive?
make a motion to have Connie get a hold of the LCT, and we will draft up what the questions that we need to ask her are, and
Who's we?
select board.
Today or?
Today, tonight, tomorrow,
Okay,
at some point in the near future.
okay.
And, come up with exactly what we're looking for the answers for VLCT. As Dale said, there's gotta be another example somewhere in the state of this happening before, so.
Connie has a question.
Not a question, I would add to that directive two things of what I'm hearing from the conversation. One would be to direct me with any assistance to do what Dale suggested, which is all the listers and the da-da-da-da-da. And then the second thing that I'm hearing that, I think the select board should direct the treasurer to produce 3 years of tax payments for Mr. Crosby and Susan. Is what the other thing I think I should be directed. Treasurer should be directed. So it's kind of.
Yeah.
Her mortgage company need to see where, I mean, you guys have already seen how many times her mortgage company has tried to contact you to get this reversed. Long time ago. And it's been brushed under the table for years.
So Rob,
It's 7 transactions, and I don't even understand how it even got into the second year.
Katie, you wanted to add something?
The motion last time was to direct the treasurer to provide the select board with all documents pertaining to Crosby's 3 properties from 10/21/22 through 6/22/25. Evan seconded the motion and it carried. So that's what we had asked her for already.
Okay, yeah, but I think that
I only have 2 properties here
this
now.
conversation is honing in on what it is that we're trying to pull out. And so that's why I would add those 2 directives, those 2 pieces. So 1 VLCT, 2 Dale's process, and 3 what Tim suggested in terms of 3 years of tax payments.
Can I make a suggestion?
Who is it?
That's how.
Yes, so as a lister, I will verify the parcel ID numbers and the spans and the dates that they were transferred. As an accountant, I would suggest that we get copies of the canceled checks that paid the taxes on all of the accounts. Tim's when he owned it, Tim's that he still has, and Susan's for what she has paid. We can get the same thing from the mortgage or from CoreLogic and get details on how those checks were applied. Because if you don't know what money's come in and where it's been applied, you're not going to be able to reconcile it.
And that's why I'm not going to pay these guys anything, because it's like,
But you have paid taxes on your property, right?
Yeah, I'm current.
Okay,
But the thing is,
so if we can get canceled checks for all the payments that have been received by the town for all of the properties that are involved,
yep.
then we can figure out where those payments were applied and where they should have been applied. But without knowing all of the payments that came in, not just people's word for it, got to get canceled checks, and you're not going to be able to reconcile.
That's what I'm saying.
See here that it showed that it's been current. Like, it's shown grand total balance to 0.
So I would like to add a 4th thing that we are honing in on and being very specific about, which is canceled checks on all payments from all parties on the properties in question.
And those will not come from the treasurer. Those come from Susan and Tim and the Beck.
No, they come from you. They come from the town of Townsend.
Not the canceled checks. No, the canceled checks.
They're not canceled checks. I never had a canceled check ever.
Never.
They're old
So
checks.
you never pay by check?
I mean, well, I pay by check, but the thing is I run millions of dollars through my freaking bank account. I'm not going to just sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours and search through all the different transactions. You guys should have that right in your computer. I mean, this is a perfect example of why we're in the situation we're at.
Okay. I'm a lister. I'll back out of it.
We can't argue it. It's like, you should have a whole entire list of receipts in there. I mean, I don't know what, you should have all of it. It should be like.
Well, I showed her your receipts the other day.
Yeah, well, that's what my point. That's what I get. It's like,
So that's asking for, so the receipts.
There's no way.
The receipts. Would that fall into one of the 2 things that we are doing would not fall into Dale's process, but receipts would fall into Tim's request of 3 years of tax payments. That's where we would get the receipts. So we'll put the receipts in. So I don't know if there's a motion on the table, if it's just a directive. To one, contact VLCT with questions that the select board will come up with. Dale's suggested process, and then the request from Tim for 3 years of tax payments. Tim, what is Susan's last name?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. We'll find out.
Tim, were you told by the treasurer's office that they throw their receipts out?
My wife told me that they're throwing receipts away down there, that they got no place to put them. And I was like, what? I don't know if it's true or not, but the bottom line is if you get audited by the IRS, what's the first thing they're going to ask for? They're going to ask for your income. They're going to want to know all your receipts. So throwing anything away is kind of silly.
I don't know if you know that.
Goes for him too.
Well, let's verify that.
It
So-
pertains to him too. If you're spending money on anything, if you're paying money out, if you're getting money in, you need to have proof that you've done that. It's not just the town's responsibility, it's also the homeowner's responsibility. So I may be first grade, but it's true.
So what I have right now is a directive that Rob made and we've built upon for 3 things. Is that sufficient for the board?
Yes. It's all filth in there, so we really cover it.
I tried to put it that way.
All right, are we finished with this discussion? And we will get back to Tim. Are you going to, stop in and talk to Connie about building a question for, the LCT, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, then we will move on to discussion about the tax rate. Connie, would you like, you so eloquently said it to me before, so when we were talking.
Okay, this is either a discussion that the select board would like to take up or not. Coming out of setting the tax rate, select board meeting, right, we had some discussion on the tax rate. And once the tax bills went out, some people have come in and addressed Alenka about the increase in the tax rate. Anita's collecting taxes over the last few days, and people come in and ask about the increase in the tax rate. That led Ally and I to have the view that it would be very helpful if the select board has an understanding of, where we are in our tax rate in terms of surrounding towns and what accounts for it and a historical view. So what's in your packet is our initial research to collect data so that the select board can have some knowledge about the nature of the tax rate for Townsend. It's just information that you should feel comfortable with, ask questions on, want to discuss or not discuss, but it was a response to questions and feelings that came out of setting the tax rate.
So I just have a question up the top, is where does the school tax rate fit into this discussion? Because from my understanding, that has really been the biggest driver of increase.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you teach me about pie charts, because I think that would give us all a really good visual that, our 100 fund is this big and it's very frustrating as working for the town and trying to keep our budgets really tight and efficient when 150 people come to town meeting and argue about $500, and then a week later 80 people go to, not even, but I mean that's the whole district, to next door, and they vote in a $14 million budget, and we're saddled with that. So that's one of the things that we have to work on here as well. I've called the treasurer's department, they're supposed to call me back, could they they usually send us at some point in the year something that reflects at the bottom of this page here, the comparison of monies raised and setting the tax rate. You have like 2.25, 2.29, but I want the dollar amount that reflects. So this I would call what Connie and I have been working on, a draft fluid document that you folks can read and respond to and add to, hopefully. Connie worked hard on this page with the boxes where it says the tax rate comparison, and it compares Townshend to the surrounding towns, because, was it Rob, you brought that up, so we did this in honor of Rob.
I think what really hurts us is our CLA, or what could hurt people is the CLA.
Right, but we can't get somebody to do a reappraisal, so.
But that's what your school tax rate is set on too. That CLA is the state saying this is your base for school, and then you get penalized, and then you have to pay an additional cost on top of that.
And
Townshend, fortunately, when it first came out, wasn't a paying town. I lived in a town, Jamaica, which was a paying town, and on average, they sent $3 million for every million they spent in town.
So I'm happy to do any more research. I'm not, this isn't a done deal. The question is just, we wanted to put something in front of the select board so that you guys can review it and decide if there's anything more that we want to do on it. But I do think the residents, deserve an explanation if they have questions. Now, nobody has directly come to me or Ally and asked it, but I've been told that people are asking.
Well, we've been hearing from here, and part of it is that if you earn a couple of extra dollars, your homestead payment goes down, and people don't always realize that. They just know, my property taxes went up. Well, not all of it was because of what we spent. Part of it was because of what you earned and the calculations. But if we have this, then we can show our side of the street, and we can try to educate people on other factors that affect their taxes. So, shall we move on to the road commissioner position discussion? We kind of talked about it a little bit in highway, etc. Anybody want to start up a discussion?
Do you have people that are already showing interest in doing that?
No. It's just, should we have it, we had it in the past, how do we have the road commissioner liaison. The way I remember the meetings were when we got the new board with the addition of our two gentlemen over here that we talked about in July. We would reevaluate if Katie was the right person to continue as the road liaison, but we never did do that. Should we do that and shift gears there, or should we keep things the way they are and add a road commissioner? I don't know, it's up to the board.
I'd like to see us stay just as the liaison, and all of us are the commissioner,
Okay,
and, And I mean, if Katie doesn't want to be the liaison, that's fine.
I think she's happy with it, and I think it helps her with her grant writing, because of a lot of the grants are with the roads, so she gets a better understanding of how the highway works. So we'll make that a matter of the minutes, that we'll stay this way for now, and all of us will be quasi-road commissioners.
Crack the whip on, would you?
Yeah.
It's not on his hip.
Yeah.
Okay, then we move on to, I asked that this be put on the agenda, elementary school issue. It's gonna come at us rather quickly, in my opinion, when all of a sudden they don't want the elementary school anymore, and what's gonna happen. And I just wanted us to be, have information ahead of time, so if it comes at us quickly, we're educated.
I had a member of the public approach me about the changes to the school districts that are coming to us, and how they had spoken to someone within education that was explaining to them what is really gonna get restructured when that happens, and it is happening because it was passed. And there was some conversation about how, like, our leased land to the high school and stuff like that, and our tax responsibility on that, and how that's gonna be changed. And I think that we need to visit those changes to the education laws right now and figure out if we're gonna end up having like our taxes go way up, our parcels being leased in that way, good for us still and everything, because there's gonna be a lot of changes, and it was kind of a.
And at the August 1st event upstairs, Wendy Harrison said she has a lot of information and she'll walk us through this. Kind of hold our hand, keep us
Good.
abreast of what's happening in Montpelier. But, you know, if all of a sudden they say, give us $1, the school's yours again, do we want it? I personally want it, but maybe the town doesn't, I don't know. If the high school is in our 99-year lease that started in 1969, is that null and void then? You know, I don't know. So these are a lot of things that I think we all should, my personal opinion is let's put it on the next month's agenda and give us time to think about things, think about kind of red flags, well, let's ask about this, let's,
Be a keeper of the town land, we think.
I'm gonna do the keeper of Rob Wright.
When are they meeting upstairs? This is all about the changes to education that they're meeting upstairs about, is that?
No, I said when the August 1st, when we met upstairs for Corey's event.
Oh.
Yeah, that's when I was
I'm like,
talking
wait,
to.
are they having?
No, I'm sorry.
I'll go to it.
Yeah, no, that's not what I said or meant, but I happened to talk to her about, well, what do you know about all this? She said, I know a lot.
Okay.
You could set the meeting with her.
We could,
Yeah.
and then we can also put our hats on before the next meeting and come up with a lot of, because I've heard a lot of people say, I don't want the elementary school because it's gonna cost us money. And I said, if supervisory union keeps it, it costs us money anyway.
I think we definitely, you're right, we have to be ahead of the conversation, because it's not just as simple as transferring it back.
No.
There's other things you have to do. The VLCT already warned me about it when I talked to them a little bit about it last year. There's just like a lot of different things.
So why don't we ask Connie to set up a meeting with Wendy and we'll all put our hats on before next meeting and come up with questions.
Should we also request a meeting with VLCT, somebody there?
Let's meet with Wendy
Yeah,
first, in my
Wendy first.
opinion. Common tree maintenance, I think we covered that already, yes?
No.
So
Well,
we're
we
getting
talked about
over
the
there,
tree.
you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess that when the state forester Adam came, he had explained to us some different things that we should do to the root bases of the trees, having the grass kind of pulled away from the surrounds of the trees and things like that. He pointed out schedules to when certain things, I guess, on some of the trees that you had planted now are up for needing to be pruned, and some of the others we have to put together that schedule, and I think that's also part of the impetus for this pruning thing that they're gonna do, but there is some talk about us needing to put together an RFP at some point to have that dirt pulled away from the base of the larger trees especially, right?
Could we have a town work day and have people come out and do it? How hard is it to pull some dirt away from the base of
Well,
a
we
tree?
could, and we also are contacting the Career Center in Brattleboro that has teachers training people to do it.
We also had revisited our common care contracts and decided not to move forward with the Bartlett tree one that we have been using, and then talking with the state forester, we found out that we were probably fertilizing trees that we didn't need to be fertilizing and spending money in some places that we didn't need to be spending money. So when we had him coming down and having Vermont urban and community forestry around, we said, give us advice, because we don't know if we need a new tree care contract or what we need, so.
Right.
That's.
And November
That is what
6th,
this document is.
Yeah,
and
that's
November
what-
6th is a meeting where the whole town can get together and hear.
Is that gonna be discussing other than pruning? Cause it
Yeah.
sounds like this is just gonna be about pruning.
No?
That's just a pruning.
Yeah, they're just gonna.
This is a pruning class.
It's not gonna, they're not gonna teach us how to maintain the trees.
We did
Well,
get
yeah,
that.
that's what this is.
Wasn't that what the pruning is maintaining the trees?
But he has
Definitely part of it.
This document literally goes tree by tree on what he recommends is the
Yeah.
care of it.
And record keeping for us for the future, and, but his first recommendation, he said step one was to get that earth pulled away from the base of the larger trees.
Could we discuss that at the meeting of the common committee?
It's on.
That seems like a,
That was part of it, because it came out of our highway budget committee, because Jeremy the highway department's kind of been being the maintenance part of it, and I think everyone needs to understand that we're working on trying to get a plan together as a budget, to be part of a budget, that there's probably maybe eventually down the road, we need to actually make a common maintenance budget line to have a lot of this stuff be under, to be properly documented, but to be able to.
We can talk about that at the common committee and then make a proposal to the selectmen. Anything else on tree maintenance? Okay. The bike tech, plain and simple, we were approached to put a trailer filled with bicycles in the back lot here. Connie and I met with the bike tech teacher. We went over reasons we felt that wasn't maybe the most advantageous place for a trailer filled with bicycles. And in our conversation, it came up, what about Jamaica School? Jamaica School just has preschool in it now, and isn't there space there? And he went, oh my God, you're right. And so it might have been solved, and we might not be asked again. What's this adoption?
So the hazard mitigation plan is something that's required in order to be eligible for some FEMA grant opportunities. We have done some public comment stuff last year. The folks at Wyndham Regional populated the plan, got all the approvals from the state. They said it meets all the requirements. They just need us to formally adopt it.
You authorize anything county to sign it.
Mm-hmm. So I would make a motion that we approve the Townshend local hazard mitigation plan, authorized by the Evans on behalf of the board to sign.
And the state and who else already looked at it, did you say?
The state.
The state.
I'll see the reps in the state.
Right.
And I'm sorry, it doesn't, looks like it's more a signature than just the chair. So it would be a vote to have the select board adopt.
That's right.
To strike the Ally Evans sign part. We'll just adopt it.
Connie, I second.
Katie seconded.
Seconded. All those in favor is?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Bridge 27?
I think we did that earlier in the grant.
Okay, and shed repairs is?
Oh, no,
Bids.
Rich
It's all
27
bids.
repairs.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were
That's
talking about signing the thing.
No.
That's the thing.
So we're opening the bids.
Yeah, and then the next order of business after that, I don't see them. Okay, so there are issues.
First bid is from Sam Bourne,
This is for the bridge 20.
Bridge 27. And do you want me to read the specs of what he said, or do you want just the bid cost? It says mobilize equipment to the site, install traffic control and safety measures, excavate affected area, prepare a base for the footing, install, haul all unused materials and debris off-site, construct a 4-foot by 11-foot by 12-inch deep footing. Number 5, rebar, 16-inch grid. Number 5, L bar installed 16-inch on center, placed 2 inches from the pressure side of the wall. Construct a 10-foot by 8-inch thick wall to cover 6 inches over road surface, epoxy. Number 5, rebar into existing bridge abutment using AC 200 plus epoxy. Install a 2x2 catch basin with a 15-inch culvert outlet. All backfill material to be approved specs. all backfill material compacted, repaving excavated area, and site cleanup and swept clean. $19,782.69.
Can you read that amount again?
$19,782.69.
Thank you.
Second bid is from A.S. Clerk. $65,000, 0 cents, and estimated time of completion October 30th, 2025. I'd make a motion to accept Sam Bourne's bid at $19,782.69.
Second.
And all those in favor? Yay! I guess there's no discussion.
Did you say $65,000?
Yes.
6530.
Pickering's was like 15 grand tops.
He was wrong.
Well, he was wrong as well.
Okay.
Tell him he needs to.
And then what are the bids? Do we have a single bid?
Shed.
All right.
We got a sand shed, fix-it job. One bid. We got a bid from EAZ Excavating and Concrete. And it says, this price includes supplies, delivery of all concrete rebar. Town is responsible for supplying and delivering all of base material to be installed by EAZ. And the cost is $56,750. And contractor's projected date of completion is 10/31/2025.
Halloween. How does that compare, Jeremy, to what you thought it would be?
Right around where I had estimated him. He was the only one that showed up.
And he's got a certificate of insurance here with it, so I would make a motion to accept EAZ Excavation and Concrete's bid of $56,750.
How we paying for it?
So
Rubles.
that's the sheet that I have provided to you all. There is the contractor treatment line. We had budgeted, I believe, $150,000 for contractor treatment. We received a $200,000 grant. However, the cost of the grant reimbursement, because the project came in under $200,000, we are receiving a grant reimbursement of $115,394. In addition to the balance that's already in there, which is $5,757, that gives us a balance in that contract retreatment fund of $121,151. We've already used $24,900 of it for crack sealing. We have approved a dam road reclamation of $3,300. So we currently would have a balance, and those two are paid, of $92,951. We have anticipated 2 other projects that, given the current bids, would come in under the $92,000.
How does that affect this?
How does that affect this? We have $92,951 in our contract retreatment budget after Chapter, we pay for the crack ceiling and the dam reclamation.
But did you say these two would be about the
They
92?
would be less than
Okay.
92,000. One would be 56 and one was 19, I
Yeah.
think.
We've been around 76.
165 and one. No, wait, you're right, 156.
So 76 steps,
So we'd come in under 92.
but then how does that affect this 56?
We
So
have
the 56
92.
is this one, the 19 is this one.
Okay,
So this
I
being
see,
the
this is
total
already here, the
You
same
just
thing.
didn't know what they did, yeah.
Okay, I
Put it to
see,
that,
I
so
see what it
60.
is, I thought they were two separate other ones.
When we budgeted that contractor treatment money, we only had a $50,000 paving grant, and then they came back to us with an extra $150,000, so we sort of ended up being
Sorry.
able to get a larger reimbursement than we had expected, which then our committee got together and we said, let's get some other stuff off the list, so that's how we got here, and it looks like we're still gonna have some money in that, line after we do these, so.
A little more than 15,000, yeah.
So everybody's satisfied with that?
Yep.
Okay,
We
and,
need a vote.
oh, we
Don't we?
don't vote on that.
Yes,
We
we
can
We motioned and seconded, discussed, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then the next one is tomorrow, we have tax sale at 10 o'clock. We started out with like 8 or 10 properties. Everything's gotten paid up and satisfied, their delinquent taxes except for one, which is Roger King, which is a piece of 10-acre parcel in West Townsend, near the Ellingers, across from Gerda's and there. Becky sent us an email this morning about, I haven't had anybody interested in purchasing the King. If I haven't had anybody interested in purchasing the King property tomorrow, if no one bids on it, can the town bid? I will also try and raise this question to attorney, likely someone will bid the minimum, I think she means bid the minimum bid and take it. So I called her and said, well, what's the scenario that happens? And she said, well, private bidder can make a bid, that's what we want the most. Second, if no one bids, it stays on the delinquent list and the legal fees increase what's owed on the property. And then the third, which she thought was the least desirable, was the town places the minimum bid to take it off the delinquent tax roll. The town would own the property if after 1 year no one made it whole, and the cost of the minimum bid is $2,800.
Just raw land.
It doesn't seem to have any access from 30 over that.
It looks like there's access from 30.
It's 10 acres of raw land, is what he asked.
Yeah, and it's rural land and there's kind of
But it doesn't
ledgy.
matter in the tax sale.
Okay,
The one thing that Becky said on the phone today is that the longer it sits on her tax delinquency list and accrues more and more fees associated with it, it becomes less desirable and harder to get somebody to bid on it. That is why she's approaching the town to make the minimum bid, so that it becomes off the tax list.
but then what do we do with it? We wait for a year and then I think legally we can only sell it for what we have into it. It's not like it's ours.
No, you would put it up for auction and then whatever was over the amount owed goes back to the owner.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, we can only recoup our money that we have into it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I just hope somebody buys it tomorrow, but I wanted to bring you up to date.
No, I think that we're asking for a decision as to whether or not to make a bid tomorrow and who's gonna be authorized to make the bid is what she's requesting.
Okay.
So one, does the select board want to make a bid, minimum bid? And two, who's authorized to make that bid?
I will be available, so somebody
Yeah,
else.
I don't think that we should be into bidding on property in our own town. I mean, we're not.
That's the question from Becky, that's the question from you guys.
I would almost think not and let it go run its course.
Let it be back on the delinquent list.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking the amount of taxes that are due on that piece of property per year are so minimum that it's not a driving factor.
Well, at least for 1 more year.
Well, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
like, we're not rushed into a decision to make sure that,
So we're saying we'll only do the first 2, that a private buyer buys it, goodbye.
Well, Rob's recommending not to make a minimum bid, other people need to weigh in.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I'm restating what he's saying, that we'll do a private buyer buys it, or it goes back on the delinquent list. And is that a motion, Rob?
yes.
Yes, a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Let's see, Connie, you wanna talk about? Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this is the piece of land.
Can I just make sure I understand the motion, because is the motion not to make a minimum bid?
The motion is to
Or
have
change
the
the
town
minimum?
not have anything to do with bidding on the piece of property and let whoever else bid it.
Okay, Connie, would you like to talk about Kyocera printers?
So the listers, printer / copier contract with Kyocera is expiring at the end of August. The treasurer's contract with Kyocera is expiring in March. And so Kyocera has been bought out by another company. So we got contacted by the new company to say, hey, your contract's expiring, let's talk, future. So we requested from the new company the cost to extend the current contract with the 2 copiers and the cost for what they are suggesting, that because they obviously want us to purchase new, or to enter into a lease for new copiers. And so we asked for the cost of each. So we do need to make a decision as to what we want to do before the end of the month, before the contract expires. What they came back with is what you have in your document. They gave a monthly cost for extending the current equipment for both offices, and that is $154.97 a month to extend the current cost. And then for the new equipment, the monthly cost would be less, it would be $135.66.
How do those figures compare to what we pay now, do you know?
It is about $1 more than what we pay now if we buy new equipment. If we continue our lease, it's about $20, $19 more a month.
Okay.
So they're giving us an incentive to go to new equipment.
Is there any difference in the contracts?
Yes, you get more with the new company. With the new machines, you get more than you do by staying with the old machine.
What?
It looks like you
The
get
machines
that,
offer more capacity, they offer more options.
it looks like the price is for 60 months on the cheaper one and only 36 months on the other one, so
Yeah.
it seems like we should just go with the cheaper one.
And you lock it in.
For 60 months. I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2 new machines of the future monthly investment of $135.66 on a 60-month contract.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Did Rob vote?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming the agreement is that Ally can sign on behalf of the select board.
Okay, I think we're at the,
Motion to adjourn?
yep,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Don't forget to sign the warrants, please.
And everybody published